In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to make this Mickey Mouse U-shaped pillow. Let's get started. So I've made one side here already. I'm going to show you how to make that. We're going to start with a magic ring or magic loop. And then we're going to chain 1 and put 6 single crochets into this loop. After that, we're going to close this loop and then slip stitch into the chain 1 we've made. Chain 1 to start the next row. Into the next stitch, we're going to put 2 single crochets. And I'm going to mark the first stitch with the stitch marker. From now on, I'm going to do that for every row. Into the next stitch, 2 single crochets again. So we're going to put 2 single crochets into every stitch. For this row, we should have 12 stitches. When you finish those, you're going to slip stitch into the stitch before the stitch marker, which is the chain 1. So slip stitch into that and chain 1. For the next row, we're going to do a pattern of 1, 2, which means we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first stitch and 2 single crochets into the next, and we're going to keep repeating that. We should have 18 stitches when we finish, and we're going to slip stitch and chain 1. For the next row, we're going to do a pattern of 1, 2, 1. So 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 2 into the next, and 1 into the next again. So we're going to repeat that. We should have 24 stitches when we finish this row. Slip stitch and chain 1 as usual. Next row, we're going to do 1, 1, 1, 2. So we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first 3 stitches. Into the next stitch, 2 single crochets. So we're going to repeat that. 1 single crochet into the next 3 stitches. Two into the next one. So just repeat that. For this row, we should have 30 stitches. Slip stitch and chain 1. Our next row is going to be a regular single crochet row, meaning we're going to put 1 single crochet into each and every stitch. For the next row, we're going to maintain the same stitch number 30, but we're going to do some increase and decrease. So a regular single crochet into the first stitch. We're going to make a decrease here. So insert hook into the next stitch, pull yarn through, into the next stitch, pull through again, 3 loops on the hook and yarn over, pull through all 3. For the next 8 stitches, we're gonna do regular single crochets, so 1 single into each stitch. After that, we're gonna put 2 single crochets into the next stitch. For the next 6 stitches, 1 single into each stitch. Then 2 singles into the next stitch. For the next 8 stitches, 1 single into each stitch. Then we're going to make a decrease here. We've done this before. Into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through, and the next stitch, yarn over, pull through again, yarn over, pull through all 3. And for the last stitch, a regular single crochet. Next row is going to be a regular single crochet row again, so 1 single into each stitch. The next row is a little special as well. 1 single crochet into the first 3 stitches, and a decrease. For the next 7 stitches, 1 single into each stitch. Two single crochets into the next stitch, and for the next 4 stitches, 1 single into each stitch. Two single crochets into the next stitch, and for the next 7 stitches, 1 single into each stitch. And a decrease here. One single crochet into the last 3 stitches. Slip stitch and finish this row. The next row is going to be a regular single crochet row again. So go ahead and finish that. After the slip stitch, we're gonna switch to black to chain 1, do another 4 rows of single crochets without any increase or decrease. Chain 1, start the next row. Into the first stitch, we're gonna put a single crochet. Two single crochets into the next stitch. For the next 26 stitches, we're gonna put one single crochet into each of them. Into the second last stitch, put 2 single crochets and 1 single crochet into the last stitch. After that, we're gonna do a row of single crochets. Slip stitch and chain 1. Into the first 3 stitches, put 1 single crochet into each of them. Two single crochets into the next stitch. For the next 24 stitches, 1 single crochet into each of them. Two single crochets into the next stitch. For the last 3 stitches, 1 single crochet into each of them. After that, we're gonna do another row of single crochets. Slip stitch, chain 1, make it tight, chain 4, to connect these 2 parts, we're gonna connect them like this, with 2 parts going towards each other. Find where all the slip stitches are. Insert hook. Connect them. Chain 1. We're gonna crochet around this side first. So chain 1 to begin this row. For the first 14 stitches, 1 single into each of them. Then a decrease here. One single crochet into the next 2 stitches. A decrease again. For the next 32 stitches, 1 single crochet into each stitch. On this side, we should have 16 stitches left. So when you finish the first 16 single crochets, this side should be finished. Then 4 single crochets along this bridge. The rest 14 single crochets should be on this side. The next should be a decrease. One single crochet into the next 2 stitches. And then a decrease again. For the rest 18 stitches, regular single crochets, with the last 4 along the bridge. Slip stitch into the stitch before the stitch marker, chain 1 and begin a row of regular single crochets. After that, we're going to slip stitch and chain 1. For the next 13 stitches, 1 single into each stitch. And then a decrease, 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, a decrease again. For the next 30 stitches, 1 single into each stitch, after that a decrease, 1 single into the next 2 stitches, a decrease again, for the rest 17 stitches, regular single crochets. The next row is going to be another regular single crochet row, so go ahead and do that. After the single crochet row, chain 1. I'm going to put 1 single crochet into the first 12 stitches, followed by a decrease, 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches, a decrease again, and 1 single crochet into the next 28 stitches, a decrease, 1 single into the next 2 stitches, a decrease again, and for the next 16 stitches, 1 regular single crochet into each of them. After that, we're going to do another row of regular single crochets. Don't forget to stuff it up as you crochet along, otherwise the top is going to become smaller and smaller. It would be difficult to stuff up the bottom. Next row, put 1 single into the next 11 stitches, a decrease, 1 single into the next 2 stitches, a decrease, 1 single into the next 26 stitches, a decrease, 1 single into the next 2 stitches, a decrease, and for the rest 15 stitches, 1 regular single crochet into each of them, followed by a regular single crochet row. For the next row, we're gonna do a single into the next 10 stitches, a decrease, a single into the next 2 stitches, a decrease, and a single into the next 24 stitches, a decrease, a single into the next 2 stitches, a decrease, and for the rest 14 stitches, 1 single into every one of them. Again, followed by a regular single crochet row. So for the next row, we're going to do 1 single crochet into the first 5 stitches, followed by a decrease, and we're just going to repeat that another 7 times to reach the end. For the next row, we're going to do a pattern of 2 half 2. That means we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first 2 stitches, and make a decrease, and 1 single crochet into the next 2 stitches again. I'm going to repeat that pattern another 7 times. So the next row is going to be a pattern of 3 half. So for the first 3 stitches, 1 single crochet into each of them, followed by a decrease, and we're going to repeat that another 7 times. The next row, we're going to do 1 half 1. So 1 single crochet into the first stitch, and then a decrease, and 1 single crochet into the next stitch. We're going to repeat that another 7 times. The next row is going to be a decrease row. We're just going to keep decreasing. After the decrease, we should have 8 stitches here. Now, because the opening is not round, it's kind of oval, so I'm just gonna sew it up like this. Now we're gonna make the ears. So we're gonna start with the magic loop. Chain 1, work 7 single crochets into this loop. Close the loop. Slip stitch into the chain 1. chain 1 to start the next row. We're going to put 2 single crochets into each stitch. So we're going to turn 7 stitches into 14 stitches. After that, slip stitch into the chain 1. Then chain 1. Our next row, we're going to do a pattern of 1, 2. So that means we're going to put 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 2 single crochets into the next, then repeat that. Do that 7 times in total to turn 14 stitches into 21 stitches. Slip stitch and chain 1. Next row, we're going to do a pattern of 1, 2, 1. So 1 single crochet into the first stitch, 2 into the next, and 1 into the next. We'll have to do that 7 times in total to turn 21 stitches into 28 stitches. Slip stitch, chain 1. Next row, we're gonna do 1, 1, 1, 2. So for the first 3 stitches, we're gonna put 1 single crochet into each of them. Then into the next stitch, 2 single crochets. Again, we're gonna have to do that 7 times in total to turn 28 stitches into 35 stitches. Next row, we're gonna do 1, 1, 1, half. So for the first 3 stitches, 1 single crochet into each of them, and then work a decrease. Then we're just gonna have to repeat that another 6 times. For this row, we decrease the stitches back to 28 stitches. Next row, we're gonna keep decreasing. We're gonna do 1, half, 1. So 1 single crochet into 1 stitch, and then a decrease, then 1 single into the next stitch, and repeat that another 6 times. We should have 21 stitches for this row. For the second last row, we're gonna do 1 half. So 1 single crochet into 1 stitch, followed by a decrease. Then we're gonna repeat that another 6 times. For this row, we should have 14 stitches. Our last row is just gonna be a decrease row. We're just gonna keep decreasing to turn 14 stitches into 7 stitches. At last, I'm gonna sew it up to close this piece. Once you've made 2 ears, sew it up on top of the pillow, then it's done. This is how I make the Mickey Mouse U-shaped pillow. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching.